Today we're going to make a sirloin tip roast. We're going to cover this roast in olive oil and season it, and then we are going to brown it in this pan on high heat with a splatter guard. We're going to season the roast with salt, pepper, Montreal steak spice, and thyme. Now you can add anything you want to that, whatever flavors that you like. We're also going to cook some potatoes, some carrots, and I'm going to put those in boiling water. I'll make mashed potatoes with the dill. I'll use honey for a honey glaze on the carrots. The sirloin tip roast has been covered with olive oil and seasoned. I've prepared a pan with some onions at the bottom. After I've browned the roast on high heat on the stove, I'll place it in the pan on top of the onions, and I'll cook it at 300 degrees until the inside of the roast reaches 145 degrees for medium rare. The potatoes have been added to the water. I've cubed the potatoes. I'm trying to keep them in all relative same size. And the reason I do that is so that after I brought them to a boil, when one is done, they should all be done around the same doneness. I'll test these with a fork, and what I'm looking for is that the potatoes flake apart. The carrots have been placed and covered in water into a pan, and I've got 2 teaspoons of honey and a teaspoon of butter. Oh, I've also added a teaspoon of butter and liberally salted the potatoes with sea salt. The roast is now browning in the pan. The carrots are on the stove, and I'm going to bring those to a boil. The potatoes are on the stove, and I'm going to bring those to a boil. I'll flip this roast around until I get it nice and dark. I'm trying to seal all the juices in here so that when I roast it in the oven at 300 degrees, that it doesn't dry out. The sirloin roast has been browned and placed on top of the onions that are in the pan. I brought the carrots and the potatoes to a boil and reduced the heat to about half to prevent them from boiling over. I finally chopped the dill that I'll be adding to the potatoes when they're finished with a pat of butter. The carrots are done when you can easily pass a fork through them. Turn them off and remove them from the heat. Returning to the potatoes, I'll test them by poking them with a fork. What I want are for them to snap. I don't want them so soft that they're mushy. I still want these potatoes to be fluffy when I mash them. I'll now put these in the sink in a colander and strain the water. Then I'll mash them, add butter and dill. The potatoes have been mashed and they're fluffy. They're not runny or creamy. I've mashed these with about 1.5 teaspoons of butter, and I'm going to add my finely chopped dill weed to these potatoes, and I'll fold it in. The dill has been folded in to the mashed potatoes, and I've also seasoned them with a little bit of sea salt and some black pepper. But you can add more black pepper or maybe some chili flakes if you want it to be a little spicier. These potatoes are now done. We're just waiting for the roast. I'm periodically checking the roast and inserting a thermometer into the middle. I'm looking for 145 degrees before I remove this. It's occurred to me that this roast doesn't have very much fat in it. It's not going to make enough juice to make a gravy, so let's make a gravy. In a saucepan, combine 2 cups of water with 2 teaspoons of beef base. Now I use better than bouillon because I really like it. But what I'll do is I'll dissolve this in here until the taste is about right. And what I mean by that, it's salty enough, flavorful enough to make a good gravy. Now I've also combined in a shaker a cup of water and about 3 large tablespoons, heaping tablespoons of cornstarch, and I've shaken it. After I've brought this gravy base to a boil, a hard boil, I'll whisk in the cornstarch and water. Make sure that when you mix the cornstarch and the water that you use cold water, as cold as possible. I've whisked in the cornstarch and cold water, and I've just continued to add it as I've been mixing it, and it's been boiling to the consistency that I want. I didn't use it all. I didn't need it all. So now I'll turn this off and place it to the side until the roast is finished. The sirloin tip roast has reached 145 degrees Fahrenheit. I've removed it from the heat, and I'm going to let it set for about 15 minutes while I remove the binding. Then I'll slice it. The carrots are ready and they're sitting on low. The gravy is sitting on low, and the potatoes are warm. I've removed the roast from the pan, and I'm about to slice it. I've sliced the roast. You can see it's pretty much medium rare throughout. I left half of it unsliced. I'll refrigerate this and slice it as I need it. Let's plate what we have and see what it looks like. Here's our final result. Medium rare sirloin tip roast with onions, dill mashed potatoes, and honey glazed carrots. Enjoy.